I got a little bit of a hot take. I think, well, it's probably more of a hot take for the other comic book movie that just came out a couple of weeks ago than this
All
one.
right.
Fantastic Four is the movie that Superman should have been.
Good. I am
I
happy to hear you say that.
because I mean they're essentially the same movie. You got two superheroes starting in the middle of their career. They are having issues with the media, and they have to fight some big bad guy at the end. And turn around public opinion. But Fantastic Four did it so much better.
Yeah.
So much better
Yeah.
than Superman did. Matt Shakman really created, to me, a love letter to Jack Kirby. I mean, even down to naming the Earth 828, Jack Kirby's birthday.
Yeah.
I feel like he really understood the characters and pulled out what the other Fantastic Four movies couldn't do, and was really depict this group of people as a family in the way they interacted. And yeah, I mean, the way they did everything from establishing the heroes, because we're starting in media res again, just like in Superman, did a much better job, I thought, than Superman did. And it was just a really great movie. I loved it. So many callbacks to classic Fantastic Four Easter eggs, and Jack Kirby, rest his soul, I think he'd be really proud of this movie.
Me too, bro. I completely agree with you. I think that I'm going to differ from you slightly, though, on why this movie, like where this movie or where Superman should have been more like this movie. And that was just the fact that it took itself serious enough to be reverent to the comic book material.
Yep.
I think that's what was kind of missing from Superman. As you know, we've had this conversation a couple times that I feel like it was a deconstruction. I feel like it's a satire. I feel even more like that now that I've had a chance to sit back and really think about what that change to Jor-El and Lara really kind of led to, as far as like the larger scope and scale of it. And I didn't see Matt Shakman trying to overpower such an iconic Marvel brand. I saw him deferring to that brand and sort of channeling not only Jack Kirby, but also Steven Spielberg. Like, he felt very Spielbergian in this film. And I loved it. I really, really love this movie. It's my favorite movie of 2025 thus far. But granted, I haven't seen Sinners and I haven't seen F1 yet. I got to see F1. And I haven't seen Mission Impossible yet either. It's been a busy time for me. Lots of things going on. So I prioritize seeing Superman. I prioritize seeing Fantastic Four, so I could come and give our loyal listeners, our thoughts on it, and do it from a place of being informed about it. I would never want to be the type of person who would just put together a review from what he saw from video clips or somebody else's review. That's just not my style,
Yeah. Yeah. The reverence that he had for the source material was evident throughout. Thing, I thought, was the best portrayal of Thing in all of these movies. And I'm comparing him to the original Fantastic Four, not the Fant Four Stick, because I haven't seen that one and I have no desire to see that one.
Right.
That, from what I understand, that was like the modern age Roger Corman version of Fantastic Four, just to keep the rights around for a few more years.
Right.
And everybody just kind of dialed it in. The Thing portrayal in the original Fantastic Four was pretty good, but this one was so much more comic book accurate. People loved the Thing in the movie. Like, the kids loved him, everybody loved him. He wasn't this monster that everybody was afraid of and that he had to convince people to love. I mean,
there wasn't a Frankenstein issue to it.
Exactly. There wasn't a Frankenstein issue. There's a budding love story that I thought was cut a little too short, but 2 hours, a lot to pack in.
I have a feeling that might be what's on the cutting room floor at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because Natasha Lyonne, big star in 2 scenes. Yeah. So I'm like, what happened there? But I thought the Thing was my favorite part of the movie. I loved the beginning where there was a little nod to the bear, because Eben Boss Bacharach was in the bear. Yeah. And there's a little cooking scene there for him. And they even eat spaghetti, which was a big plot point in the bear. And I don't know if that was on purpose or anything, but I thought that was a nice little touch. And the way he talked, the way he moved, the way he interacted, the Thing was great. Johnny Storm, I know you had some reservations off of early write-ups about this is not going to be a womanizing himbo frat boy Johnny Storm.
I did.
But I thought it was a really
I agree.
Good. Yeah, it was a really good portrayal.
Yep.
He does establish himself as like this heartthrob. You see that. It's show don't tell. I thought it was a very good example of show
Yep.
don't tell, that
Yep.
he was kind of a heartthrob and he does love the ladies. But his interaction with Shala-Bal was so good and made sense in the movie. And yeah, the only Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman I thought was really good. She really embraced that motherhood, especially at the end as we get talking about the different scenes. Pedro Pascal was good, although I don't know if it's, for me, Pedro Pascal fatigue, because he's apparently contractually obligated to be in 3 movies a year or something. But his portrayal of Reed Richards was okay. To me, felt a little flat.
Okay.
And I know he is a great actor, and I feel like if we got the full Pascal experience, it might have overshadowed the other 3 stars. I feel like he dialed it back on purpose a little bit, but I thought he made a good Reed Richards. I liked him. I don't know, it just wasn't that charismatic. I guess Reed Richards isn't really a charismatic
He's not,
figure,
man.
but
Like, dude, he's without a doubt autistic, or he has Asperger's. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And I
yeah,
think Pedro captured him perfectly. Like,
yeah,
I felt really good about the portrayal of Reed Richards because they dealt with the alien feeling that people with Asperger's and the people with autism deal with. Like, that's how we see the world. We kind of feel alien to the rest of you because we can't relate to you on certain things. Like, we don't get excited about trivial and banal things. Like, we don't get excited about Jersey Shore or Celine Dion or, you know, any of these kinds of things. We don't get excited about cooking shows or reality shows. It's just not really our thing, you know? And I think that they did a good job of sort of capturing what it's like for Reed Richards to exist in the world that he exists, but also at the same time trying to articulate what it was like for Sue Storm to be with him and to
yeah,
have to deal with that too.
yeah.
And I thought that was done beautifully.
Yeah, I thought together they were great, especially when they were fighting about Franklin.
Yeah.
And Reed Richards, at his heart, is a pragmatist. He looks at
Yep.
the calculated answer to the equation and what makes most sense. And he knows that giving up Franklin, to sacrifice one for billions is the right move. But it's also his son. And Sue is like, no, you're not doing that. And that's what I felt like in all the Fantastic Four movies, where I really felt they were a couple, like a husband and wife, like really arguing and figuring out what's the best plan to do this for everyone, trying to find that compromise. So together, I felt like they did really good. And showing Reed's stretchy powers was much better in this movie than in the previous ones. They did
Well, I
it in a
think
way that
because they
made
dialed it
sense.
back. They dialed it
Yeah,
back. They made it more
it mattered.
practical. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't for show, it was for utility. Like, it was, it wasn't like they weren't trying to do it while he was on the dance floor. They weren't trying to do it to make it look cool. They were just doing it when he absolutely needed to use it to be effective or to be victorious. Like, whatever outcome he wanted to achieve, he used the stretchy powers to achieve that outcome. So they
Yeah.
didn't go overboard with it. However, I do wish we kind of saw a little bit more of those stretchy feats, just like, a few more of those,
Yeah.
like some of the ones
Yeah.
that we've seen in past Fantastic Four projects. Obviously not the Roger Corman film, but the ones before it or the ones after it. Sorry.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to see some of them, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I was going to say that the stretchy powers I thought were really well done. The CGI looked really good in this movie. The Franklin at the end looked a little uncanny valley.
Yeah, CGI
But
babies. Yeah.
yeah, CGI baby looked a little weird. But outside of that, I thought it was really well done. Mole Man was hilarious. This movie wasn't your quippy Marvel movie, but it was quippy when it counted. And Mole Man, I want more Mole Man. That was so funny, that interaction with the 3 of them and saying, "Hey, sorry, Johnny, I'm not the one that dressed you." Like, that's funny. And he's like, "I want an apology from you, Reed." So it was just really fun to see the guy from Cobra Kai, playing Mole Man. I thought it was really, really well done. And they didn't leave the heavy lifting of the comedy to Johnny and
Yeah.
they kind of spread that out a little bit where it mattered. And it was, I think Matt Shakman had a little bit of an advantage over other directors in that this was set on a different Earth and a different time in the past. And he wasn't shackled to the MCU as a whole.
True.
He didn't have to throw in a Thunderbolt. He didn't have to throw in an Avenger just to say, "Hey, we're part of it." Everybody understood This is a Marvel movie. They're gonna merge universes at some point, but he really had a lot of freedom to kind of do what he wanted to do, similar to Gunn and the Guardians, to be able to be in that own universe and explore that world. I want more of that world. I want to see more of that utopian kind of Jetsons retro futuristic 60s. So I thought that was I like the setting. I even like Galactus. I thought a big 10, 100-foot tall purple kaiju rampaging through New York would look ridiculous, but he actually looked really good. And I saw it on XD on like a big screen, like IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, just the scale of how he looked against the Statue of Liberty. And he was even kind of a relatable bad guy a little bit. Like he's just like, I'm tired of having to eat planets. I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to eat planets, but I have to eat planets if I want to survive and if I want to live. So yeah, this little baby with the power cosmic, that's the most powerful being in the Marvel universe. Yeah, you're going to take over. So I get why he wanted to do that, but kind of a relatable bad guy. And I love the part where he landed on Earth and then he reaches down and like sniffs the Earth like I do when I sit down to eat. I'm lifting the plate and I'm sniffing my food before I eat it. And I was like, Galactus is a foodie. I love it.
You lift your plate and you sniff it before you eat it. That's funny.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
I'm at a restaurant. I look at the plate, I see how it's composed, and I lift it up and I sniff it. Yeah, man. I'm all into that.
I don't think I've ever lifted my dish off the table.
Man, I just love food, dude. So Galactus.
So do I,
man.
But like, so do I. But but listen, the one point I want to zero in on that I really like about what you said is that, and they could have maybe dialed this up a little bit more, but he's just sick of his job. Like he's just
exactly.
He's just sick of his job and he wants somebody to take over for him. And you know what would have been hilarious? He's like, listen, I really don't want to have to take your kid, but he's really the only person that I've met who is in a situation where he can actually take this job. I'm sorry to like if they had actually like verbalized that kind of would have been pretty funny. But then again, it would have taken away from the scope and scale of Galactus. Like it would have taken away his omnipresent sort of stature, I think. But that could have been funny because that guy is an actual comedian. He's a British comedian. He was in the office. He was in the British office for a while.
That's
so
funny.
He's got those chops.
He's just sitting in his spaceship, quiet quitting for the last, couple of centuries.
Quiet quitting for the last couple of centuries. Yeah, no, for sure.
Planet.
Yeah, he's just like, I want another job. Like, come on, like, help me out here. And like, and I guess like in that capacity, Silver Surfer's his headhunter, I guess.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Maybe he's sitting up in his spaceship going, I wonder if there's a greeter position on Nowhere.
Yeah.
Just welcoming people to Nowhere. That would be fun.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Silver Surfer, you had again some reservations about Shala-Bal. What did you think?
I did. So I still have those reservations because Norrin Rad is Norrin Rad, and I think that their box office may be performing slightly better if they could have avoided the negative PR backlash that they got for not using Norrin Rad. Like kids are going to kid. And the internet's going to do what the internet does. We live in a time where people's default is just outrage. So why feed it? You know what I mean? I think you strategically have to move around it. And I don't think that was the right strategic move to move around that particular thing. But as far as my experience in the movie, it didn't impact it at all because as a writer myself, I could see the justification and why they had to go with a female version of the Silver Surfer. Matt Shakman and the writers wanted to tie it to Johnny, and they wanted to create this sort of primal, sort of almost elemental connection between Johnny and the Silver Surfer, and they wanted that. So they had to go with more of, they had to go in that direction. Now, they didn't play up the shared motherhood angle as much as I thought they would. Now, maybe I'm just speculating, but there were a lot of people talking about that when people started to kind of think that may be the direction they were going. So a lot of that did get put up online. Maybe they shifted the story away from that a bit. I don't know. But yeah, so that was my expectation. My expectation is that there would be a shared motherhood angle and that Sue would use, and the Fantastic Four would use Shala-Bal's motherhood against her and just say, hey, listen, like, you got to help us. He wants to take our baby. I thought it was going to be something like that. But I loved the way that they executed it. I loved the way that it was all put together. I loved every moment with Julia Garner as Silver Surfer. She was fantastic. And I just loved every scene, like every scene that was in space or near space or had the board, and like it was just a surfing scene was just fantastic. Like the whole thing was amazing. It was excellent. Really, really well done. I love the connection with Johnny. I thought that was awesome because again, it didn't really kind of fall into prototypical Johnny Storm where he's just like flirting with a hot chick. It was deeper. It was more profound. It was something, like I said, elemental or primal between them. And it wasn't even like a romantic connect, like it wasn't even a romantic connection. It was something else. But it was obviously female male, but it was just something else. Like you didn't get the vibe that it was romantic, even though he was calling her sexy alien woman and all kinds of shit, you know, but I think actually they should have stayed away from those particular jokes because it just would have rang more true with who they were trying to make Johnny to be in this one. But yeah, what did you think of the whole Silver Surfer thing?
I loved it. I am glad that they didn't go the predictable motherhood route. They kind of played on her guilt of being a herald and like, don't let another world go like your world did. You know, save our son in that kind of sense. Even though they did show her with her child in the flashbacks, but they didn't play that angle, which was good because that would have been the predictable.
Disappointed that they didn't show her as an alien already silver because that's what she is. Like she's not a human. Yeah. She doesn't have skin. Like, you know, Norin Rad and her come from a planet where they don't look like just white people. So
yeah.
But anyways,
the surfing scenes, they actually had a Silver Surfer that surfed, and it was just the peak of that movie. And it was her surfing on the lava, or I guess it was lava,
ripping curls and stuff.
Ripping curls in the warp tube and all that. Oh my gosh, I was like giddy. I was watching that, going, "Holy crap! This is the coolest thing I've seen."
It's probably one of the best MCU action sequences to date. Like,
yeah.
It was so inspired by like Interstellar, 2001 Space Odyssey. Like they just drew from so much, and obviously they drew from the cosmic from Kirby as well, but it just looked fantastic.
I mean, it was just a great car chase scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a really well done car chase scene. You have the ship trying to make it to their, you know, FTL drive, and then you got the Silver Surfer ripping curls on lava. Oh my gosh. I was like,
and they layered it too. Like you've got Susan who's in labor, so they put another layer in there. And then you got the Johnny and Silver Surfer thing also there. And then you just got Ben trying to keep everything together.
Yeah.
You know, because Reed's like Reed is in the Reed is wired in when he needs to be, but I'm sure his mind is on his wife and trying to make sure that she's okay. But Ben was like just trying to keep everything together. And yeah, it was excellent. It was excellent.
Yeah.
How much money does the Fantastic Four have? Oh like gosh, shit.
I mean, we're talking patents, inventions. I mean, we're probably at Tony Stark level or more for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
because like they had their own spaceship.
Yeah.
Like, when can the Excelsior take off? Like, what?
And it's like, on their front porch.
Yeah, it's on their front porch, and they have the Baxter Building, and they have the fucking Fantastic Car, and they have their foundation and shit. So like, seriously, like how much money do they have? I wish they would have done a better job of getting into more of the altruism that the Fantastic Four was probably doing. I think that would have been cooler. But I do want to go back and touch on something you did say that was like sort of where this movie stood out in comparison to Superman. And I don't mean to keep going back and making direct comparisons, but the fact that they did so well with the news clippings and the newsreels to show you all the events, like all the big events, or just to sort of showcase their powers, showcase their origin, showcase all that. That was fantastic. Like I was locked in the moment they started rolling that footage because it was just really freaking cool. And it was an excellent way to open up the movie. But also the announcement of the pregnancy scene was also an excellent way to open up the movie too. I thought that was fantastic as well. But yeah.
I didn't have to read anything, which was nice. I didn't have to read a scroll that said 4 years ago this happened. They just showed it. And the way they did it with a 4-year anniversary celebration. And, you know, it appears that the Fantastic Four are Earth's only heroes, or at least America's
that
only
Earth,
heroes.
yeah, that Earth, yeah.
So it matters, and the way they delivered it through a montage. I mean, in 3 minutes, you knew exactly what was going on. You could have not read a single Fantastic Four comic book ever, and in 3 minutes, you understood where we are in the story and why
totally
they matter.
agree. Totally agree. Yeah,
a perfect way to get somebody locked in without having to do an origin story.
Absolutely.
So I was really glad this was not an origin story. So
absolutely.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see this particular filmmaking tool be used more and more. Like as far as the origin story type of characters, like the ones that definitely don't have like these stunning origin stories to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I definitely could see more filmmakers kind of going that route for sure. I wanted to talk about performances a bit too. Everybody killed it.
Yeah.
Like everybody killed it. There wasn't a single bad performance in the entire film. Vanessa Kirby, I know she has a British accent, but that American accent that she has and her voice, like I want her waking me up in the morning. Like she sounds so hot. Sounds so hot. That's like
I'm sure you can pull a sound clip from somewhere and set it up as your alarm.
I totally can. And I can probably get AI to manipulate it. But anyways, my point is that
Court of Lore After Dark.
There you go. But that's my type as far as like voice goes. Like it hit every nerve for me. I was like, holy shit, she sounds so good. Anyways, but yeah, I do want to touch on some of the things you said about the Thing. I'm glad that you really enjoyed the character's portrayal in this. But one of the things that I felt kind of lacked out of the movie was a real arc for Ben.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a real arc for Ben, and he was really the only one left without an arc. And again, I'll go back to my theory that I think that's what got left on the cutting room floor, because I think his arc was sort of somewhat romantic, but also somewhat spiritual, because he was kind of getting in touch with his Judaism and sort of connecting with that. And I'm really glad that Marvel didn't shy away from that. I don't want to see Hollywood capitulate to the current climate and to start sort of dialing down these Jewish coded characters. I don't want to see that. I think that Stan Lee and the people of Marvel Comics were largely Jewish. So were most of the creators. And they worked their ass off to create these characters. Yep. And they deserve to have these parts of the characters totally intact. That's my take on things. I can't imagine the things that they suffered growing up. And I get a sense that storytelling and writing and cartooning was a sense of escapism for them. So I feel really strongly that we should try and honor them in the way that they were first presented. I think that's one of the reasons I take such an issue with what James Gunn did to Jor-El and Lara in Superman, is because we're talking about the most Jewish coded character in the history of fiction. And now his parents are Nazis, like space Nazis.
Yeah.
That's some problematic shit, dude. That's not cool. Like somebody on the writing team should have been like, okay, let's take a beat here. Let's zoom out. Let's get to 1,000 yards and let's look at this thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just glad that nobody tried to tone down Ben's Judaism. And I hope they honor Kitty Pryde too. I hope Kitty Pryde gets hers when the X-Men, if she gets included in that X-Men team. And obviously Magneto as well. Like that story has to stay.
Well, yeah,
that story has to stay.
Magneto.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why he is what he is.
Exactly. Yeah. No, for sure. But yeah, I just felt that they kind of gave him a thin arc and he didn't get the fulfillment that, I really wanted him to. But as far as his character design, they fucking nailed it.
Yep.
The most comic book looking thing ever. Somebody probably said at some point, let's not go overboard with the rocks. And Matt Shakman's like, nah, let's go overboard with the rocks. We're going to give him a rock eyebrow. Like we're going to go the whole way.
Beard.
The rock beard. We're going to give him like, the rock ridge in his skull. Like we're doing it all. Right. So I was really happy to see that they stayed true to that. However, my biggest gripe with this movie is the costumes for the Fantastic Four. Like they're wearing Christmas sweaters.
They did look very sweaterish.
And I hate them.
They look like turtlenecks. Yeah.
Yes. I hate them. Like I haven't gone this long in a comic book stretch or a comic book movie stretch with costumes that I hate consistently. Like what is going on here? Like, yeah, they look like goddamn Christmas sweaters. And how are you going to participate in that kind of physical activity wearing Christmas sweaters. They should be sweating their asses off. Like, it just doesn't track for me. It doesn't look comfortable. It doesn't look practical. I was almost ready for them to start fighting their spacesuits because I saw their spacesuits. I'm like, those are cool. Those aren't bad. Yeah. But I want to back this up a bit too, because I want to say hats off on production design. Holy shit.
The world looked lived in. It looked
really good. My God, dude. Like, it was like a character. Like, it was one of the characters in the film, this world that they created. I loved it. I thought it was great. They went pretty heavy on the Loki WandaVision retro, like the TVs with the, with the curved screens and the tubes and all that. But it was just awesome. I loved every inch of the world that they created there. It was fantastic. I loved the Baxter building. Like, it was just so good. So good. I loved everything about it. Yeah. It was just mind blowing.
I agree with you with Thing. I was kind of a little upset that everyone had a chance to shine in the movie except for the Thing. He
had some moments though. He had moments.
He had moments. Yeah, he had moments, but not as, I don't think, as big as everybody else. Like, Johnny Storm had his monologue with the Silver Surfer, and then you had of course you had the big third act with Sue and pushing Galactus, and that's the big one. And so I think everyone had their chance to shine. Thing didn't, but yes, I do believe his arc was with Natasha Lyonne, and that got cut, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, his design, loved it. Comic accurate. The way he lifted the VW bug in front of all the kids.
That was awesome.
I mean, it was, you believe that he lived on Yancey Street, and everybody knows who he is. Everybody loves him. And I just thought that was a really nice touch. And talk about the design of the world. I loved all the retro futuristic, sphere TV looking things. And it was just a really remarkable way that they did this. And Galactus being practical, it was a guy in a suit, and they just did special effects to make it look good. I love Shakman's ability to see the world. He cut his teeth on WandaVision, and you see glimpses of that here.
Yep.
So
and overall, Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So I think there was a lot of talk out there. It's like, oh, this is a first feature film, or is this the right guy to give this iconic first family to? And I'm like, yeah, it's his first feature film, but he directed 8 hours of WandaVision, so that's not nothing, know? So, and with that, he had to do different eras in each episode of WandaVision, so he knew what he's doing.
Yeah, but and I mentioned It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because he's been dealing with those sort of character dynamics for quite a long time. So he knows how to kind of play characters off of each other and how to get the best moments out of them. Granted, it's not Frank, Dennis, Dee, and Charlie and Mac, but there are some similarities as far as the dynamic between these individual characters and how they sort of relate to each other at the same time, which is interesting. I was really happy with what they did with Johnny. Like, very happy with what they did with Johnny.
Yeah.
Because Johnny wasn't just like this cliche anymore. He wasn't just this
smart,
sort of,
he used his brain.
Yeah,
I loved it.
He was smart, used his brain. He was useful. It wasn't just, impulse and disaster. He was awesome. Like, he contributed to everything. And I really like that they gave him more dimension and just, more layers to kind of pull off to really understand who this character was. And Joseph Quinn.
Yep. Quinn.
Yeah, Joseph Quinn, he nailed it. He nailed it. It was so good. His performance was amazing. And I loved Eddie on Stranger Things. Like, without a doubt, one of my favorite characters in television in the last, or streaming, or whatever, scripted series, whatever the hell you want to call them now. But one of my favorite characters probably over the last 10 years. Like, I loved Eddie. I thought Eddie was amazing. He's so just such a dope character. And yeah, Joseph Quinn just brought it. Like, he found the character, he found the voice for this character, and he freaking nailed it. What did you think about the fact that they dialed back the animosity between Ben and Johnny as much as it's sort of been there? Like it wasn't as present.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't the pranks that you saw in the original Fantastic Four movies and kind of that, I don't know, literally hijinks that you saw in there. But I thought it was good. I mean, they are uncles, and they are kind of together for the safety of the child, and they kind of put those differences aside and work together. I like that there's still some ribbing right at the beginning, but I think overall they established a loving relationship, and
but it was kinder.
It was really good.
It was definitely kinder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel like they were making fun of each other. It felt like they had a shorthand. You know? Does that make sense? Like they had their own little shorthand instead of like just trying to break each other's balls all the time.
Right.
Which I found interesting for sure. We haven't talked about the story. What did you think about the story?
Yeah, I liked it. It made sense, and the way that I liked the part where they're standing on the Baxter Building, and Reed's like, "Oh yeah, I took care of those people, and I took care of those people," as the police are running around, and then Galactus comes in. So it's like we're off to the races fairly quickly in this movie. But I thought the whole story to me made sense as a plot, finding that Franklin is the only one that can replace Galactus in the ship, and he wants to stop eating planets. I thought it was really good. I like how they had to lure him out of the ship for it to work, because the ship is the thing that eats the planets, not actually Galactus. I thought that was kind of a nice touch too. Like he's tied into the ship, and you always kind of see Galactus holding a planet with like an apple, but it's not him literally eating the planets. It's the ship destroying the planet and him siphoning off its energy. So they find a reason to get him out. I thought the baby swapping thing was a little, I don't know, a little weird, because you can see they know that Galactus can scan and find the kid, and it wouldn't take them long to figure that out. But I guess they needed to buy a little bit of time for them to get him in place.
Right.
But overall, I thought it was really good. That the evacuation scene between, I hate to, like I said, comparing to Superman, the evacuation scene made sense in Fantastic Four. And they only evacuated like that immediate area. Like they didn't evacuate all of Manhattan. They just evacuated the part that he was going to walk through after they realized, okay, if we lure him here, he's going to be destroying some apartments and destroying some buildings. So let's get everybody out. And then they got him down to Subterranea, which was really neat. But it made sense. Like all of it made sense to me. I don't really have a whole lot of notes in terms of like plot holes or any devices or tonal issues that threw me off. The part that I think my favorite part too is when they were being chased by Silver Surfer at the beginning, and Silver Surfer reached through the womb and actually touched Franklin, and then Sue was like, "Kill her!" I was like, "Whoo, that is Mama coming out right there."
Yeah, that was gnarly. That was gnarly.
I was actually shocked. Like we talked offline about the whole like no kill rule or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're more of like the pragmatic no kill rule of, people can't dial back their strength or whatnot. And mine is more philosophical. Like, yeah, philosophically, I don't want to kill people, but you mess with my kid, I'm coming after you. And that was a perfect example of that. Like she got that close to Franklin, and Sue was like, I'm done messing around. Kill that bitch. I was like, get her. I was like, wow. And the whole mother bear coming out throughout the whole movie. And I've read some things about there's no way Sue Storm can push Galactus like that. I'm like, well, you're forgetting the whole like mom with adrenaline thing, lifting up a car to snatch your kid out from under the car. But you multiply that times 100 with somebody that's got like superpowers. And I believed it. Like I believed in that moment, she exerted all of her energy to back. I was like, wow, that is amazing. And you believed it because she showed it earlier on that she is going to do anything, including give up her own life for her kid. And I thought the whole storyline made sense.
Yeah, the mother bear energy was definitely part of it, and that summoning that just primal, those primal forces, that was definitely part of it. But I think it was more than that too. I think that, well, when they were trying to escape Galactus, or when they were affecting their escape in Galactus's ship, she tried to kill the Silver Surfer. Like she threw her in lava pretty fast.
Yeah.
And she wasn't pulling any punches. I just get the sense that Sue Storm is not somebody who pulls punches. I feel like Reed would probably feel the same way. I don't think that Reed and Sue, I don't think that the Fantastic Four really gives a shit. They have an objective and they want to achieve their objective. And that's the sense that I got from these guys. I never got the sense that if you're a bad guy, I feel like you're sort of expendable to them to a certain level, obviously, because the mole man kind of throws a little hitch in that theory a little bit.
Negotiated with him, yeah.
But yeah, I get a sense that she just doesn't have any time to fuck with anybody that wants to fuck with her family. So it's just like you get in the way and you get barbecued, basically.
You get got. Yep.
You get got, yeah. So the story for me, I thought this movie was beautifully paced.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pacing was amazing. The structure was amazing. I really, really enjoyed the story. I would say that the second act was far more exciting and far more immersive than the third act. I felt like the third act had a couple of problems that it could have fixed, just sort of kind of keeping the peaks and valleys moving a little bit more, or making obviously the peaks a little bit higher than the valleys in act 3, because like act 2 is like breakneck. You're just like this the whole time. You're like this.
Mm-hmm.
Act 3 kind of felt like this, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and it was somewhat predictable as far as what they wanted to achieve and what they wanted to go to. But the one thing I did like was how they brought the entire world together to work on this one problem. Everybody was just like, it was this collective energy and this collective effort. And I love stuff like that. Like it brings everybody together. I really love that kind of thing. And I also felt like it harkened back to the space race of the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, when they were taking off in the rocket, that scene where you've got everybody kind of crowded around watching the rocket take off with their cameras taking photos, like you could go back to Florida in the 60s and find the exact same scene with the exact same types of people. So I really love the fact that they sort of came back to that, or they sort of, you know, brought us back to those sort of moments, which was great. And then I was surprised with the Silver Surfer's entrance. I wasn't necessarily surprised with her sacrificing herself, because I think Johnny did a good job of setting it up. And I believe in foreshadowing. I don't like, once I see a writer foreshadow something, it's very rare that they don't follow through on it, because it's just sort of like it's a technical thing. Like you can't really do it and then not follow through on it. But the way in which she did it was awesome. Like, I'm going to knock Johnny out of the way and I'm going to take one for the team, and it's going to be pretty epic. I thought that was awesome. Did you see that surprise coming
with Silver Surfer?
Yeah, sacrificing herself.
No, because I was thinking, man, Johnny's going to play the sacrifice card, which again, because the depth that they made Johnny, how deep they made his character throughout the whole movie, I fully believed that he was going to pull the Iron Man move and kick him into space and follow him in there. I didn't see Silver Surfer doing it, but I thought it surprised me, because, and then I was like, oh, where have you been the whole time? So I was kind of, so it was good that she was back. And I was like, man, after that scene, I was like, man, I wish we kind of saw a little bit more of Silver Surfer through the whole movie. But yeah, I thought, cool, Johnny's gonna play the sacrifice card, and maybe we'll see him in Doomsday somehow coming back. I don't know, but yeah, I was glad to see Silver Surfer take the hit.
Well, going back to the foreshadowing part, Johnny did offer his life to the Silver Surfer. He's like, hey, take me, like, you know, take me in place of the kid. And Johnny just doesn't have the power cosmic. Galactus really isn't interested in that. So one of the things we haven't talked about was Galactus's shit, all like the reveal of Galactus. Like that was awesome.
So good.
That was awesome. Good. Like so good. It felt like something out of a Transformers movie. Like it was just so mechanical and industrial, and you know, it felt like he was like building, like it felt like a car factory in a way. Or just like a foundry. Like it had like this foundry car factory feel, like this sort of hybridized thing. But Galactus was amazing in every sense of the word. Like just so epic and just so amazing in scale, but also just so powerful. Like you could just feel the immense power just beaming off of him as he was talking to them. I would have liked to see them more visibly scared. I think that would have been interesting, like to see them shaking a bit or trying to like comfort each other, you know?
Like holding hands, like a shot of them grabbing each other's hands or something.
Yeah, that would have been cool. That would have been cool. That would have sold it a little bit more for me. But yeah, listen, this is without a doubt the best Fantastic Four movie ever put together. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so
the
Galactus
good. The Galactus reveal for me had a little bit of a jump scare when his eyes turned on and then it flipped to his actual eyes. I was like, whoa. So yeah, that was really, really cool. And the way he talked and Yeah, you would think, again, somebody in a big purple dude would look ridiculous on the movie screen, but he did not. So
No,
shame on the original Fantastic Four for making Galactus a cloud
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
not taking the chance and trusting us as fans to say, let's honor it and lean into kind of the ridiculousness of it all a little bit. And make it look good. Just make it look good.
yeah.
And they did. And I was so happy as a comic book fan, as reader of Fantastic Four, and seeing Galactus on screen in his full form was just remarkable.
Absolutely, dude. And I think one of the things that this movie did really well in relation to the past Fantastic Four movies is it almost took all the different cliches and tropes from the past Fantastic Four movies and sort of reverse engineered them. So they over sexualized Jessica Alba inside the Fantastic Four movies. What did they do with Vanessa Kirby? They made her a mom. They had her have a baby. Like, it doesn't get more reverse engineer, or like, it doesn't get more 180 than that. And then with Reed was sort of explored from the surface level, not really getting into the emotional complexities of who he is and his difficulties in the world that he exists, like with the challenges that he faces intellectually and also psychologically. And they dealt with that. They confronted that head on, which I thought was fantastic. And then Johnny's always been this sort of hothead cliche, like sort of, impulse control, himbo type of character. And they took that to the 180 position and they nailed it. And then Ben, I would say that as much as I like Michael Chiklis's portrayal of the character, it is somewhat of a Jewish, like a Brooklynite Jewish caricature. It's a little bit like that, but it's not offensive. It's just a caricature in that sense.
Right.
Like, they really go hard on the accent and they really go hard on the alliteration and the pronunciation of certain things. But here it just felt seamless. Like, it just felt like he wasn't performing his Judaism. It didn't feel like he was performing being from Brooklyn. It just felt like he was from Brooklyn and he was Jewish. And that's it. Like, it just felt natural. I
just love that they made him look accurate for once.
Yeah,
in all of the
totally
movies,
agree.
instead of making him look like a rock monster,
Yeah,
they just made him look like a person that turned into rocks, and it looked really good. You know who we haven't talked about is Herbie.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about Herbie. We'll talk about Herbie.
What do you think of Herbie?
Better than Crypto.
He's a good boy.
Better than Crypto.
Boy. He served a purpose.
He was serving his purpose. He helped out quite a bit. I somewhat understood him a little bit because I speak a little R2D2. So there was a couple words I caught. You got a sense of what he was saying to the characters. Like, I think that was important. And I actually think they got that. The one scene I really loved was he was playing some sort of child's game or doing some sort of nursery rhyme with Franklin.
Yeah.
Just before Galactus came in, and you could see it. Like, he was moving his hands and he was like doing like hand puppets and stuff. That was kind of cool.
Humming some sort of tune.
Yeah, humming some sort of tune. Yeah. But he was like doing these hand puppets at the same time. So that was kind of cool. I did really like the fact that they had to change his tapes based on whatever the objective was. That was kind of dope.
Yeah, I loved
that was kind of cool.
An old reel-to-reel like VCR tape. Just jam that in there. It's like, okay, now you're in space, so we need Space Herbie. That was fun. That was fun. VCR kids, Google it.
Yeah, but he was like, he had utility. Like, he was practical. He's like R2 or C3PO to a degree. He just wasn't. He didn't get annoying, or maybe they cut down some of the annoying parts. I don't know, but they did that little montage when they were like, when they did the power drought thing, or whatever the hell it's called. What was it called?
I don't remember.
The power conservation. What do they call it? Oh, the rationing, power rationing.
Oh, power. Yeah.
When they were doing the power rationing, like, they had a couple of exchanges, Ben and Johnny with Kurt, with Herbie, but I feel like it was just kind of like fun, just in passing. It wasn't really a big deal. So yeah.
And Herbie baby-proofing the house was hilarious. That whole montage of baby-proofing the house was so funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Unplugging everything and putting in those little plastic plugs in the outlets, and the cabinet door thing couldn't open it, and thing rips it off. Herbie, that was really, really fun.
Yeah, but
if I'm a little overboard.
But if I'm being nitpicky, I would have rather seen some of the scenes that they cut for Ben than seeing all that. Like, I think they could have cut that back a bit. I think so. Like, I think they could have cut back some of the montage stuff a bit too, like the newsreels, the news clips, or the talk show clips or whatever. They could have cut that back a bit and just made a little bit more room for Ben's character. But it is what it is. But overall, man, like honestly, this was like a 4 out of 5 for me. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like 4 4 to like 4.5. It was just a really good film. Like really good. And honestly, I felt like you could take the Fantastic Four out of this project and it would still be good. Like you could just put anybody in there, like in the same roles, like with the same storyline and the same stakes and the same challenges. And I feel like it would still be a good movie. Like the Fantastic Four, well, it added something of material value to the film. It just felt like a film on its own, like very much like the Winter Soldier, very much like Ant-Man, very much like so many of these other films. Like it didn't need to be a Marvel character. Like it was just a good film with good structure, good pacing, great writing, great character work, great performances. Like it was just great. Great movie.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of power conservation, how much juice does Reed have to be able to tell the entire world, okay, you're shutting your power off at 7 o'clock? Everybody do it. And then everybody just does it. That's a lot of, like, what is he? I want to see, like, the prequel. What happened in the 4 years for Reed to be able to look you in the eye on TV and say, you're turning off your power so we can save the world? We couldn't even get everybody to wear masks during COVID. you know what I'm saying? Like, that's some juice that he's got.
I think that's the power of the pen of the writer, brother. He's just sort of kind of forcing that square peg through that round hole, not too concerned about whether it's going to work or not.
That's when you know you were living in a utopia.
Yeah. So, I just read that.
Should we talk Doom?
Sorry?
Should we talk Doom?
Yeah, we can talk Doom. I just read that Reed Richards is not going to be the lead in Avengers Doomsday. So he will not be the team leader for Doomsday. That's interesting. But yeah, Doom, Doom reveal.
Yeah.
Would have liked to see a little bit more.
I'd like to have seen the camera swing around and see Robert Downey Jr., but that was asking too much, I guess.
That was asking too much.
I was waiting for it. I thought it was going to happen, and then it didn't.
Yeah, so. I kind of felt like this was their goal. The minute they decided on this project, they're like, "Yeah, we're going to do a Doom end credit scene. Let's just do it." So it didn't really feel that inspired. Like, I'd rather it have more meat on the bone.
I like that they led up to it, like they showed during the Future Foundation. They showed Latveria, and there's nobody sitting there, so you kind of knew Doom was there in the movie. So it wasn't like a end credit scene that's disconnected from everything else. And it's going to be an end credit scene, I feel like, that's going to matter because we had so many end credit scenes that led to nothing. I mean, we're still waiting for Harry Styles, we're still waiting for Hercules, like
so true.
And so, but this one's going to matter because obviously we're going to move to Doomsday. So
yep, that's true.
So it was good. It was good. And then the second one, I sat all the way through the second one. I guess I got to skip that second one. So spoilers, it's the cartoon introduction.
I watched that one too. That was all right.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, yeah, all right. Not really a big deal. But yeah, great movie.
Yeah. I love it. When I compare Superman and Fantastic Four, I think to myself, which one am I willing to sit through and watch again? And it was Fantastic Four.
Yeah, me too.
Like as soon as that thing hits Disney Plus, I'm streaming it again. I'm watching it again.
Yeah, me too.
Because it was so much fun, and it felt like I was seen as a comic book fan and not insulted as a comic book fan. And seeing the end credits scene where they honor Jack Kirby at the end, and seeing that Earth 828 was named after his birthday, I was like, oh my gosh, like tears, man. Just I got verklempt. It was very emotional.
You got misty.
I got a little misty.
All right.
Misty.
Yeah, no, it had far more reverence, far more respect for the intelligence of the audience. Although you did have to suspend your disbelief here and there. Obviously, that's just sort of a prerequisite now. But it didn't come up to the line where it was just calling you a dummy and just treating you like you had no brains at all. Like,
yeah, it didn't pull me out. There's nothing in this movie that pulled me out of it and made me go, what am I watching right now?
Yeah.
So
same.
It kept me engaged the entire time.
Yeah. No, totally the same. And the more and more, especially after the Fantastic Four dropped, the more and more the discourse amplified around Superman and people talking about how Superman was a better film. I'm now convinced it's just like there's a level of mass psychosis where there are a certain group of Superman fans that just do not want to deal or confront the fact that this just wasn't a great movie, only for the fact that it's going to fuel the Snyder fans. Like they're almost just kind of pretending that Superman was better than it was so they can avoid the fallout that would eventually come from the Snyder fans sort of having their moment, you know? That's like the feeling I get from it now. It's kind of odd because like when I saw people tearing down this movie, I was like, what are you on? Like the script was perfect, the pacing was perfect, the structure was perfect. Sure, there's definitely a couple of things that they could have fixed, but this is like one of the best films that we've gotten from the MCU in ages, like since Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's the last one until next year. We're not getting another Marvel movie until 26.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't talk about Franklin saving Sue. What'd you think about that?
I didn't see it coming. I mean, I didn't think Sue died, to be honest with you. I thought it'd be one of those last minute gasps of air like they do in every movie.
Right.
But I do appreciate that they showed Franklin doing that, because now you see how powerful he is, that he's barely not even a few months old, and he's resurrecting people from the dead. So you just know how overpowered he is, and how, what does the future hold for him? And now we know why Galactus wanted him so bad, because he's got all this power within him to bring, life from death. Like, what else can he do? I mean, we know in the comics, we know what he can do. He can create universes just for fun, without even really thinking about it. Pocket universes. He recreated the 616 universe for shits and giggles. So we know as comic book fans, but watching it as a movie and not knowing, you're like, whoa, what is this kid? So it's going to be interesting to see how Doom fits into all this and what he wants with Franklin. And Franklin really is the only way you can pull off a Secret Wars type storyline in merging and rebooting the Marvel universe. It has to be from Franklin, because he's the only one that can do it. So yeah, it'll be an interesting linchpin of how Marvel kind of resets after this phase.
Yeah. So I'm not really a huge fan of the Deus Ex Machina. And when it comes in baby form, that's kind of a thing for me, or a pet, or just something of a being that doesn't line up with having the power or the experience to do those things. However, I'm not the most familiar person with Franklin Richards. I understand he's a very powerful character. He's like he's
overpowered.
Yeah,
overpowered,
he's the omega, like the alpha. There's an alpha and there's an omega, and he's apparently one of them. So, but like it being a baby, just sort of, I don't know. It's a weird thing to watch a baby bring somebody back to life.
Well, he manifested that out of sheer emotion of a baby and his mother. So what's it going to be like raising that kid when he gets to his terrible twos? Like he wants birthday cake for dinner, so you don't give it to him. He turns the entire Baxter building into cake. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because he's angry or whatever. So what's it going to be like to raise this kid?
Well, let me throw this other angle at you too, because there's a theory that when children are growing up, they are trying to avoid behavior that would anger their parents, because if they ever feel like they're not loved, there's this subconscious existential threat, and it's like it's evolutionary. So the reverse of that could be like, hey, yeah, this is my mom, but she's also my source of life. Like if she dies and I just was born, I kind of need my mom. Because the feel good version of this is he loves his mother and he wanted to save her. He's a baby. He may not even have those thought processes yet. He may not even have those emotional processes yet. But what he does have is an evolutionary instinct. So I don't mean to be a cynic, but if I'm looking at this at the most pragmatic way I possibly can, and this is probably Reed's theory too, to be honest with you. Not saying I'm a super genius, kind of a genius, but not a super genius. But it may have just been evolution. Like it may have just been evolution manifesting in his body and providing him the necessary defense needed to protect his own existence and his own life.
Yeah, they were reading him Darwin for, bedtime stories.
That's true.
That's definitely there.
That's true. That's one thing I actually liked about that end credit scene. Was that he was reading Darwin.
And the funny part too is like, if Sue dies, look who you got left. You got Reed, Johnny, and Ben. They couldn't even put a car seat in the car. You have a genius, three geniuses essentially, and they couldn't figure out the car seat. They're all, superheroes. They're just like us.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about other people to mind them. I'm saying that in the mind of a baby, a mother is the food source, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And he doesn't know that he can go get formula and still survive. So I'm just saying from his mindset, he's probably like, holy shit, they're killing my food. They just killed my food factory. What do I do? Right? I know that's a very cynical way of looking at things, but it's an honest way. It's a very pragmatic way. And I guarantee you, Reed Richards was thinking that to himself too. I know why this kid saved his mom. But anyways, I digress. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been our first episode of the Court of Lore. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We did. We're excited about this new direction. We're excited about this new brand. We're going to have more content coming out. We have a ton of like just sort of small essay videos coming out on all kinds of different types of topics. We're working on an animation project where I'm not going to give that away just yet because somebody may steal that idea, but it's an awesome idea and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think you read some of the stuff that I've been working on, right, Rich? And
yeah.
You got pretty excited about it. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes down the pike and when that happens. Till then, court is adjourned. And Rich, thanks for being here, bro. And we'll be back for the next one.
See you next time.
Peace.